They were kind of just like, okay, so I guess you know what you want to do, like go figure it out. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm back on the bed because I decided to tell the story about when I told my parents what I want to major in college. I talked about this in my last video a little bit. I decided to just make it a separate video on its own because this is like a whole thing. Let's just get into it. I consider myself a pretty artsy kid. I was in choir as a child. I did theater for a decent amount of time. I played the violin for 3 years. I started my YouTube channel freshman year because I stopped doing theater and I started focusing on sports, but I wanted to do something that was like related to entertainment, even though freshman year YouTube me was a mess. We won't talk about her. But I've always been an artsy kid. You asked me like any day of the week what I wanted to do when I was younger, and it would have been like an actor, an artist, an entertainer. It's like it was always something along those lines, right? Probably in like 2014, 2015 is when I really developed a love for like movies and films. And I realized that that was something I could actually do, you know, like I could get into films. I've expressed this to my family before. They were all aware. It wasn't a surprise, like based on how much I love movies and making artistic things, especially with the videos that I used to make for them. We won't talk about those either. But it wasn't a surprise. Like, she wants to major in film. It makes sense. She's, you know, she has some artistic abilities. So when I told them that I wanted to do that originally, when I was looking at colleges, and I was like, yeah, like I think I want to major in film production, they were like, oh, okay. Like they just thought it would go away like it was a sickness or something. You know, African parents, you're either a doctor, lawyer, engineer, or a disgrace to the family. So you understand why I'd be scared to legit express to them like what I plan on majoring in college. Because I was very afraid of my parents. I had to actually schedule a meeting, like plan ahead, like okay, like when are they both off? When can we really talk about this? I need to like prepare myself to tell them the truth. Because for so long I convinced myself, like between the months of me applying for colleges and up until like this year, January, in my mind I convinced myself, I was like, I'm definitely not gonna be a doctor and they're definitely not gonna let me study film. So, like, what's something in the middle that I know I can do and that they would also accept? So I was like, okay, engineering. I was like, I can be an engineer. So I just kept saying that word, and I thought I could convince myself that I actually wanted to do it. But like deep in my heart, I knew that I never wanted to. I just tried to convince myself. And it wasn't until my older brother, who is an engineer, he told me, and he was like, so what intrigues you about engineering? And I was like, do it. Not completely out of reach for me. I think I'm smart enough to become an engineer, and that's not like me tooting my own horn, but like I probably could be an engineer. It's just that I don't want to be. Even he does it, and it's not what he wants to do. He chose it because it's something that he can do, but it also allows him to have other ventures on the side. And I'm like, that's not what I want to. I don't want to put myself in that position. I want to like wholeheartedly pursue something and be in that path. I had the meeting with my parents on March 11th, and I know what day it is because I legit marked it in my calendar. We're just sitting there talking, we're on the living room, and then all of a sudden my dad's like, okay, so what did you want to tell us? Oh yeah, you know, like, I just want to talk to you about college and how it's going, like where I want to go, blah, 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 and that I want to go to so-and-so college, they're giving me this much money, and I'm majoring in film. And they were like, what do you mean? And I was like, I want to major in film production and possibly double major in graphic design. What happened to engineering? And I was like, I told them what I just said, that I tried to convince myself I wanted to become an engineer, even though I know it's not exactly what I want to do. It's just that I was kind of afraid that they would disapprove of what I actually want to do, which they did. So I tried to convince myself of doing something else that would be more accepting in my culture and my family. So they were like, I thought you wanted to be an engineer, now you're saying you want to major in film. Sounds to me like you really don't know what you want to do. Trust me, I know, I was just too scared to tell you, because when we talk about these things, it terrifies me, because they just expect so much out of me, and they expect me to be this person that I don't want to become. So it is hard to tell them. I think it's really hard for all kids with immigrant parents to really express to their parents what they really want to do, because we live in, it's like we experienced two different worlds. It's like they came here from a different country and they literally started from nothing, had nothing, and they've amassed so much. So it's hard when their kid, I guess, is just like, yeah, I don't want to do what you did, like I want to do my own thing. We're in a new generation, we have different resources, so I don't know why they blame us so much. I'm just trying to live my best life. I told them, and they told me that I was being ridiculous, basically, and then they were kind of just like, okay, so I guess you know what you want to do, like go figure it out. I tried to come to you and tell you and be open, be totally transparent, so we're on the same page. I told you what college is giving me money to do this, and they're like, but didn't you apply there for engineering? Which I did, but I switched my major online and didn't tell them. I was like, now you're just not being fair to me. Like, how are you just gonna just like toss me aside and be like, yeah, okay, go figure it out. I don't know what to do. Like, I mean, I know what I want to do, but I can't do that without your support and your money, you know? I need the funds, Mom. This isn't gonna work with just me. You won't even let me have a job. So it's like, so that night just ended terribly. I was like, Mom and Dad don't support me. They don't like what I'm gonna do. They're gonna disown me. Like, they just want me to figure it out on myself. They're gonna cut me off and stop paying for things. I'm just always a mess when it comes to like college, I guess. They really haven't changed. I'm now going to community college, as I stated before, and like the major I'm doing is like general studies. It's like humanities, arts, culture, language, something, and both film and graphic design are underneath that, like that general studies program, which is what I'm doing. I'm starting to register for classes, and my mom was like, oh, okay, so like what you're doing now, what's it for? It's for film. And she was like, okay, but like the courses you're doing, can they be applied for something else? And I was like, yeah, it can be applied for graphic design. Okay, but what about pharmacy? Here we go again. She was like, so if you want to do pharmacy, like the courses you're taking now, could you use those? And I was like, no. And she was like, oh, okay. Well, you can still change your mind. It's so frustrating. It's like I say film, and it's like they hear nothing, and then they ask me if I just said pharmacy. I'm like, you're not listening to me. I guess they'll come around at some point. I don't know. I just wanted to tell that story because it was a very scary and low night for me. I was like, I can't believe they really just told me to go and like figure out college on my own because I don't want to become a doctor, or I don't want to become a pharmacist. My mom is so convinced that like in a year I'm gonna wake up and be like, oh, it was pharmacy all along. And I promise you that's never gonna happen because I don't want anything to do with the medical field. It has never interested me, and it never will. So I wanted to share that story because it's basically a part of what I was saying in my last video, and I feel like it was kind of relatable because African parents, immigrant parents, I feel like they're all very similar in things that they want their children to study in college when they pursue higher education. And like I knew I wasn't the only one, so I just felt like I wanted to put that out there. If you have anything to comment it down below. Subscribe if you want to. If you like me. Like the video. If you watched this far, you obviously like the video. So thank you for watching it, and I will see you in my next video.